that it happened that it was going to come this way. It's a really sad situation, and you are all aware that we have always warned that when it is raining and you see that the river is flooded, don't cross that river. And that was why we put those barricades here. We have them, Solomon and others. Last year we were able to rescue somebody because there was something that wedged his vehicle and he climbed on top of the vehicle. We were able to rescue. But this sad incident happened at night. So we are really sorry. And on behalf of the FCT administration, we give you our condolences. Please accept the loss and bear it. It is a sad situation. We know it's very heavy for you. But please, we pray God will comfort all of you. As usual, what we do is, the body now, you will tell us. You want to take the body back home? You want to bury it by the river bank? Or you want to take him to the hospital? That is why we are here with the ambulance. You are taking him to the village. Okay? So that is it. What we do now is we will take him to the mortuary. We go so that you people will give details of everything. And then we deposit the body there. What I'm going to do now is I have to call. I will call Wuse or Asokoro, anywhere that they will give us space. Because normally when we go to Federal Medical Center here, they don't listen to us. So I will place a call to Asokoro Mortuary, which is closer to our office. If they have space for us, we take the body there.
Nigerians call of thee to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Thank you, maybe seated. I want to quickly introduce the management staff of FEMA here present. Before you is the Acting Director General of the FCT Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Mohammed Sabu. Seated next to my left is the Director for Forecasting Response and Mitigation, Mrs. Florence Wenengeme. And Mrs. Nkechi Ukeje is the Head of Procurement of FEMA. Now, this is an interactive session between the media and the Acting Director General of FEMA. So I'm going to invite the Chairman of the FCT Ministers Press Corps to coordinate the questions and answers. Mr. Hudu.
Okay, good morning. Good morning. The Acting Director General, FEMA, who also double as the Director, Admin and Finance of the agency. Sorry? Okay, Account and Finance of the agency. The Director, Mitigation, Response and Forecast, Response and Mitigation of FEMA is Florence Wenegi, and my sister, the Head of Procurement, and other top management staff of FEMA in absentia, my colleague from the press, and I think there is no need for us dwelling on the introduction. It's just going to be the brief press briefing. Let's see an interactive session between members of the press and the management of the FEMA. And we can start this meeting by asking the acting DG of FEMA if he can tell us some of the successes the agency have recorded so far until precisely from January to date. If you can tell us, we will appreciate by also getting it across to members of the public what the agency has been doing and what they have so far recorded over the year from January to date. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to FCT Emergency Management Agency. As you are aware, FCT Emergency Agency is the coordinating body that handles the management of disaster generally within the FCT. The agency is saddled with the responsibility of protecting lives and properties of all FCT residents. And actually, the agency has achieved quite a lot within the year. One of the major achievements is that we have been able to strengthen the capacity of the staff within the agency. Not only the staff, we have also trained our marshals, our volunteers, our divers, and vanguards. As you may be aware, we have vanguards. Our vanguards, we have our volunteers, we have our divers, which are in most cases the first responders within incident communities. We have ensured that we have strengthened their capacity to be able to respond to emergency situations. And I also want you to be aware that the agency have a well-developed plan of activity documented that assists us in responding to emergency situations. And it serves as a guide to all the staffs within the agency. And we have been able to strengthen our relationship with our stakeholders in such a way that immediately there is an incident or a disaster situation within FCT, we can easily activate our stakeholders and sisters agencies that we are collaborating with within the agency. Our major responsibility is saving lives and property of FCT residents. And with the full support we are having from the FCT administration, we have been able to save about 1,842 lives. That's in all fire incidences that have occurred within the FCT. And no life was lost completely. And we have been able to salvage property, save property, worth about 99.3 million. That is on fire outbreaks. And we have had incidences of building collapse. Incidences like that of the Kwarimpa Plaza and the Garki village, the commercial building in Garki village, and some other ones. Regarding building collapse, we have been able to save 174 lives. We lost 4, unfortunately, during the building collapse. And in case of flooding, we have had floodings in places like Chikakure, the Kula Trademore incidents, you are aware, the Jukoi flood incidents, the recently Dogongada flood incidences, and so many others. But in total, we have been able to save 2,864 lives. That's regarding flood disaster. We have lost 4, unfortunately, during flooding. And most of these lives that were lost during flooding, to a lot of extents, are avoidable. If you have noticed, there was a trending video sometimes back. It's almost similar to that of this Dogongada incidents. When a bike rider tried to cross through the flood, the running water, and he was carried away. He even hold on to his bike. Unfortunately, he was carried away with the flow of the water. The same thing happened in Dogongada, Lokogoma District. The same thing. There were a lot of cars because we have barricades. In most of these flood-prone areas, we have barricades, and we normally place a sign. Normally, that's a signage there warning people about issue of flooding within that area. So, because of the existence, and we have vanguards, our vanguards that are stationed there 24 hours. So if there is flood within those areas, immediately they will barricade the area against motorists and other road users until the water have receded before the barricades will be lifted. But unfortunately, this motorcyclist thought he would be able to navigate his way through, unfortunately, and he was carried away with the flood, and that's why we lost about 4 persons in a flood incident. I want to state that the government is doing a lot to ensure that public lives and the properties of all FCT residents are saved and protected. But the government cannot do it alone. We own our lives. We own these properties. So it's our responsibility to protect these properties and at the same time protect our lives. How do we go about that? We ensure that we normally sensitize the public about early warning signs in all incidences. When you are talking of flooding, building collapse, and the rest, there are early warning signs. We are advising the public to adhere to please take these early warning signs seriously. And we have different type of flood. We have this flash floods, and we have this flood within the riverine areas that we know, especially those that are living within these river banks. We have evacuation plan that we are supposed to have. That's before even the flood, during the flood, and after the flood. And we expect individuals to, there is something you call flood insurance. They should be able to insure themselves against flood, even building, fire incidents. You should be able to insure your properties and lives. Number 2, in the case of building, each individual or persons that is going to be engaged in erecting any structure should abide by building codes. We have building codes that is there, and make sure that the structure, ensure that you incorporate this safety of that structure. And even within the flood prone areas, we have what we call flood resistant structures. That's if it is necessary for you to build within flood prone areas or within the riverine river banks. You ensure that you build a flood resistant structures. And for those that cannot afford it, you adhere to our sensitization messages, which is evacuation when there is flood to a higher ground, and ensure that the water have receded. There's no water before you go back to your individual houses.
On behalf of the Acting Director General, FCT Emergency Management Agency, management and staff of FCT Emergency Management Agency, once again, I want to welcome you most sincerely to this great day. Our acting DG has said it all, and we really appreciate your coming. The only thing I want to add here is that in terms of structures that we have to put in place to end flooding or disaster of any kind, we cannot get a permanent solution. Climate change has come to stay. It is something that is global. And all we need to do is we try to see how we can prevent it. If we cannot prevent it, we just put some few mitigative measures in place to reduce the impact. And the truth is that government has done its best. Government is on top of the situation. During the last flooding that happened last weekend, we are glad to say that some of you went to the incident scene and you realized that government has actually worked there by fixing barricades there and stationing some of our disaster marshals, our rescue team, our local divers. They have been stationed at that location. Sensitization has been done aggressively, like he said. And you can see the work going on at the Galadima interchange, generally called Galadima roundabout. You can see that government is on top of the situation. One of you also said that we have not done anything at these locations. There are new locations. Most of the locations where we had flooding or we had disasters, nothing happens there again. Like the Galadima interchange. Since 2019, that was the last time we lost a life there. Government is on top of the situation, and because of the barricading of that road, each time the rainy season begins, we've not lost any life there. Dogongada, we've not lost life there too for the past 3 years. Someone said every year. No, that was wrong. It's only this year. For the past 3 years, there was no loss of life there. And the last incident we had there, children went there to swim. It was not due to flooding. So the one that happened last weekend, you can see the barricades are there. We have our marshals and officers there that stopped him from crossing. He insisted and decided to cross, and that was how the water washed him away. That does not mean that government is not doing anything. Government is doing a lot. All we need to do is we do our best and leave the rest for God to continue. But the greatest part of the role to be played here is we, the residents of FCT. If we put heads together with the government, there will be no loss of life at all. The one that happened in Chikakore or Biazi, the video went viral. You also saw where people were calling him, beckoning on him not to cross. He did the same thing. So it bows down to the behavior of the residents of FCT. And we are pleading with the residents of FCT. I'm just adding more voice to what the acting Director General has said. We are pleading. And we are also pleading with you, the press. You have a great role to play. When we inaugurated the disaster marshals in the university, we had 20 members of the press that we also inaugurated. So you help us carry that flag, keep the flag flying. The cycle should not be broken. The cycle should continue up to the grassroots, and wherever you find yourself, please be a good ambassador of FCT Emergency Management Agency, and also talk to the residents of FCT to please abide by the rules, the do's and don'ts, whether in terms of flooding, building collapse, fire incident, and so on. FCT Fire Service goes around all the public places to inspect and make sure that there are fire extinguishers in different locations, and like the Acting Director General said, they are fine. So it's not as if government is sleeping. Government is doing a lot. But government alone cannot do anything. That is why they say, government for the people, by the people. So we have to put heads together. And with this, lives will be saved. Properties will be saved. Thank you very much. There was demolition some years back in Lokogoma District. Government took that drastic action. They didn't want to do it, but they had to do it. And after they did that, there was free flow of water from Lokogoma down to Galadima interchange, and that was why there was no loss of life last year. And that is it. Thank you very much.